So I have got a pan here over about medium-high heat, and into there we're gonna go in with a tablespoon of butter. You could also do this with oil if you're feeling it, but I, love butter, so why not? So a tablespoon goes right on in, and into there we're gonna go in with that can of beans. This is gonna give a little bit of golden brown crisp to them. It's gonna help kind of dry them, and it's gonna give them more texture, which is a dream. Sometimes when you're using a canned bean, they taste canned. There's that kind of like funny little water that you definitely want to get rid of. If you're someone who does vegan baking, you'll probably use it to make a meringue. Not for me, don't love it, but you do you. So as you can see, we're already getting a little bit of golden brown color on the bottom of the pan. I just want those beans to do their thing and start toasting up and getting some more flavor. Now I've got another pan over here, and I'm gonna make a crispy kind of topping to go on top of these beans, just to give this dish a little bit more texture. So into there, I'm gonna go in with 2 tablespoons of butter. Just get ready, there's more butter in this recipe too. We're going big. I'm just gonna add that right into this pan. This is over, again, about medium-high heat. And I'm gonna add in some panko breadcrumbs. Panko is basically a Japanese breadcrumb. If you don't have panko, you could just tear up some bread and do it in a pan as well. It'll be a little less crunchy, but still a little bit of crispiness. So I'm gonna let that butter melt out and just toast that panko. But for a little bit of heat and spiciness, I'm gonna go in with some crushed red pepper flakes. Just about a half a teaspoon, or maybe a whole teaspoon. You cannot see him, but Connor, holding this camera right now, just looked at me like, that was not half a teaspoon. I'm gonna give that a little bit of a stir, and we are good to go. And we're just gonna let that toast until golden brown. Now, as we see, these beans are doing their thing. They're picking up a little bit of that color, and they're just drying out a little bit, so that's gonna be absolutely beautiful. So while those beans do their thing for about, I'd say, another minute or two, I'm gonna chop up a shallot. Now, I love a shallot. I pretty much always have everything here in my pantry. But if you're not someone who wants to dig through and find a shallot at your grocery store, half of a red onion will be perfect. You could even use a white or yellow onion if you're feeling it. But a shallot to me kind of gives the flavor of like garlic and an onion if they had a baby, and that's a very good thing. So I'm just gonna dice this up. You can go as fine or as chunky as you'd like. And just like with an onion, I kind of go through, but since shallots are kind of a funny shape, I do go through this way once. Typically with an onion, I don't do that because I think it's just faffing about and I don't have time for it. But with the shallot, I do. Just run your knife through. Also, I think we recently got our knives sharpened. Thank you, culinary, what a dream. All right, give that a nice little chop. Once you get to the end, just flip it over, run through, and you are good to go. Now, come take a look at these beans. They are doing their thing. They've got that golden brown. Ooh, my panko's burnt. We are live today, everybody. All right, I'm gonna set this panko aside. Listen, I'm gonna call this over caramelized, because that's what you tell your friends when they come over and you've burnt something. It's gonna be fine. But again, most of it is not, so it's gonna come out in the wash. I'm totally cool with that, I love that. All right, that's doing its thing. These beans are also looking great. They're a little bit drier. Most of that kind of bean water, for lack of a better term, has kind of cooked off. I'm gonna transfer these though to a different container just to get going on the sauce. So I've just got a sheet pan here because it makes quick work of it. But if you want, you can pop it into a bowl or back into the bowl from whence they came, all right? Back onto the heat we go. And guess what? We're going in with more butter. I'm feeling good about it. So about 2 tablespoons of butter goes into this pan as well. That's gonna start picking up that little bit of golden brown off the bottom of the pan. But the thing that's really gonna start lifting things is this shallot. Anytime you add a vegetable into a pan, there's a little bit of moisture in here, and that's gonna kind of help lift all of that golden brown off the bottom of the pan. So in we go with that shallot. Season that up with some salt, as well as a little bit of pepper. Now, the salt here actually helps draw moisture out of that shallot, helping it cook down quicker and helping it get a little bit more of that beautiful golden brown flavor off the bottom of the pan. Gonna give that a little bit of a stir. This smells so good. If you smell butter and shallots, you're in for a good dinner. It's always a good thing. I'm just gonna sorry about I feel like I'm getting everybody pepper breath. We got a couple coughs in the audience, I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna do this. Give it a stir and let that go down for just about, I'd say 2 to 3 minutes, just to get a little bit soft. Now, while that's doing its thing, you wanna chop up some garlic. Now, you know me, I often will use a rasp for garlic. I'm feeling like chopping today, because I don't know why. The recipe calls for 3, but these are the biggest cloves of garlic I've ever seen in my whole entire life. So I'm probably gonna go like 1, 1.5. The giant store called and they want their garlic back. Okay, give it a bit of a smash. Smashing your garlic does half of the chopping for you. If you're someone who doesn't hate chopping garlic like I do, feel free to do that. It's funny when you're talking about something that you hate doing and then you're doing it. I don't know what's happening today. It's live. We're just doing our thing. It's all good. All right, chop that garlic down as fine as you want. Garlic is actually kind of funny because the finer you chop it, the more punchy the flavor. So if you were to rasp this, it gets really, really punchy, super garlicky. This bigger chunk, once you cook it down, is actually a little bit sweeter. So I'm gonna go on into my pan with that garlic. You see those shallots, they're nice and golden brown now. So we're gonna go in with all that garlic, give that a stir to combine. And now in the real world, if I was doing this at home, I would let this garlic cook down a little bit longer just because I've got it bigger. If you were to mince it, you'll need about 30 seconds in that pan. But this is where I'm gonna start adding in kind of the tomato situation for this sauce. So the first thing I need is just a cup of cherry tomatoes that I've cut in half. I love a cherry tomato. Even in the dead of winter, a cherry tomato will be delicious. Unlike those like beefsteak tomatoes that you think look delicious, but they taste like nothing. Yeah. You know, like a February tomato? Nobody wants that. Cherry tomato, always good. So I'm gonna go in. Again, that moisture is gonna help lift off all that golden brown. And then for a really low and slow cooked down tomato flavor, I've also got a can of tomato paste here. I love tomato paste, and pretty much, I'm gonna say 98% of the recipes I write with tomato paste in it, I tell you to use the whole can, because I hate it when you have like this much left and it just sits in your fridge, and then you wonder 2 months later, what is that? We don't wanna do that. I'm gonna go in with that full can right on into that pan. And tomato paste obviously is super, super concentrated cooked down tomato. So this is gonna give this dish that low and slow cooked down flavor that I'm going for without me having to take hardly any time. Now I'm gonna give that a bit of a stir and just bring that together. Now what happens with the tomato paste is it starts to kind of cook on to the bottom of the pan along with all of that golden brown deliciousness. That's gonna give you a little bit more flavor. You're just giving this a bit of a cook just to kind of cook down those tomatoes, bring in more kind of low and slow cooked flavor. But this is where we get a little bit of fun. Once that's been cooking down for about a minute in that pan, we're gonna deglaze with our good friend vodka. Because I am not a vodka drinker, but I will cook with vodka. So always good. My bottles last forever. We've got about, I'd say about a quarter cup of vodka here, and we're gonna deglaze the pan with that. What that's gonna do is it's gonna lift all of that golden brown stuff off the bottom of the pan. If you are cooking on gas, turn the heat off. Turn the heat off first. We already have people who know what's gonna happen. If you don't turn the heat off, there's a chance that those flames could actually get into the pan and then you're gonna flambe. And an accidental flambe is never what you're looking for. If you actually want to flambe, be prepared, stand back, you do you, but be careful and have emergency services on dial. But if you're using electric or something, it should be fine. But again, always stand back when you're pouring alcohol into a pan. I'm just cooking this down. The thing about vodka sauce that's really, really cool is tomatoes have a couple different types of flavorings in them. They've got water-soluble flavors, so we've got that with the other tomato. There's water in there. There's fat-soluble flavors. We have some butter in there, always good. And then there's also alcohol-soluble flavors. So by adding the vodka, you're not gonna taste it, but these tomatoes are gonna taste even more tomatoey, which is an absolute dream. But now we're gonna add in, we were talking over the audience or over the break that we have 5 tablespoons of butter in here. So why wouldn't you put some whipping cream in it too? We're going for it. It's the season, I feel like. So I've got 3/4 of a cup of whipping cream here. Now, if you don't have whipping cream and you're just someone who takes cream in your coffee and you've got coffee cream, that will work. You want to be a little careful when you're pouring it in. Pour it in slowly and slowly incorporate it, because the higher the fat percentage, the less likely it's going to split when it hits the heat. So that's why I like 35% cream, because you're pretty much guaranteed for success. So I'm going to go in with those 3/4 of a cup of cream. And I'm gonna give that a stir. The thing that I love about vodka sauce is that kind of rosé color to the sauce. It's super delicious. We've got those little cherry tomatoes for that little bit of freshness in here. And again, if you wanted to make this sauce and pop it onto some noodles, I would not blame you. This would be absolutely beautiful. Some chicken meatballs in here would be really good. Ooh. Now I'm getting other recipes in my head. But we're gonna go in with those beans. So I've crisped those up. We're gonna add those right on into the mix. And again, if you have any other type of bean, even if you had a chickpea, that would be beautiful. I like a lighter colored bean because it works really well with the sauce. Then I'm gonna go in with some cheese. I've got half a cup of grated Parmigiano Reggiano here. If you have Pecorino Romano, that would be great. If you've got Grana Padano, also delicious. Any sort of good grating cheese you like. Give that a stir to combine. And at this point, because those beans have a lot of starch in them, and we've got that cream, and we've got that cheese, and we've cooked everything down, if things are looking a little bit too, I'm gonna say claggy for you. Does everybody know what I mean by claggy? Nope, I gotta know. It kind of like stodgy, did that clarify it? I think I need a dictionary for my words, is what I need. I'm gonna go in with just a little splash of water, because there is a lot of starch going on in here because of those beans. As this cools down, it's gonna thicken up even more. So anytime I'm saucing something in a pan, I always want it a little bit thinner in the pan than I want it for actually eating, because as soon as it's off the heat, it's gonna start to thicken up a little bit. So go in with a bit more water. If you want to at this point, I would not put in more vodka because it's not gonna cook off. It's gonna be a different type of show, and that's pretty much it. But I want a little bit of green in here. So this is looking stunning. I'm gonna come and land this right over here. For a little bit of green, I'm going in with some basil. Now, if you have some fresh basil still, my plants are still doing pretty okay. You actually wanna tear it at a junction point. So you find the other leaves, pick it off just like that, and give that a little bit of a tear all over top. If you want to, you can chop this, but I'm just gonna give it a bit of a rough tear. Add that right on in. If you had some store-bought pesto, you could stir that right in too. Give that a beautiful stir. Add those crispy, not burned, panko breadcrumbs on top. Little bit of deliciousness there. And then of course, you can never go wrong with a little bit of extra cheese right over top. Now this to me is an absolute star. Serve this up, again, on a noodle, as is, or my preferred way, good old hunk of crusty bread. Let's get into it. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.